Chris Yandex, C1 review covering Las Vegas and the world. Before we begin, of course, please subscribe to this channel by hitting the subscribe button below and like this video to keep up with everything we have going on here at C1 Review in Las Vegas and beyond. Today, we're going back to Australia to welcome back one of our friends, YouTube star. You know him as Archie Luxury. Go to his channel at Archie Luxury to see everything he has about watches and luxury and everything in life. Paul Pluta, thank you so much for joining us again on C1 Review today. How are you?
Hey, it's great to see you, Chris. Great to catch up just before Christmas. Great to see you.
Oh, we're so happy to have you on again, of course, Paul. A couple of days ago, you published a video updating your watch collection. So why don't you tell us about the video, of course, at Archie Luxury to go see that on YouTube.
Yes. Look, I got to tell you there, watch collections, it's always a tricky thing. What you try and do in a collection is have a collection that is greater as a whole than the sum of the parts. So you sort of say, what do you want? You want to have a couple diving watches, sports watches. You want to have a couple dress watches, So you want to have the different genres, and hopefully you can build a nice collection. It's always a tricky thing to do. Always a tricky thing to do, to build a collection that just feels balanced. It makes you happy, and you can never get enough pieces, but you can have a balanced sort of collection. So I got to tell you, I had a terrible situation. I was burgled, fresh slate, start again. Nothing was found. It was just terrible. But I kind of managed and said, you know what? I want to collect a few pieces. I want to have some nice watches for myself. And instead of pieces that sort of appealed to other people, these were pieces just for me. And that's how I built the collection. And I got to tell you, after I had the burglary, the first watch I really craved was the bluesy two-tone Submariner. Two-tone Submariner. That was the watch I first craved, and I've really enjoyed wearing that the most in the last 2 years, actually. I've really enjoyed wearing it. But, yeah, it's been good. It's been good, Chris.
Well, I want to talk about a couple of the watches, so don't spoil it for the people. But first, why don't you tell us about this special box? What is the deal with the box that your 8 watches are now in?
Look, I always like, the thing is this, it's kind of when you watch collecting, you sort of, you like to display them. You see other collectors, they have a display. So then you start, before you know it, you buy a box for yourself to put your collection into. And the big thing is that unfortunately, these boxes can be damn expensive. They are incredibly expensive. And if you've got beautiful watches, you don't really want to have an Alibaba box or an Amazon special. You think, you know what, you spent all this money on the watches. You want to have something special. So before the burglary, I had 2. The best boxes in the world are probably, there's 2 brands, Louis Vuitton and Goyard. That's the 2 big brands. Goyard is they're a little bit more lesser known, but Goyard is a very, very famous brand for making boxes. And the other brand, of course, is Louis Vuitton. And the thing about these is they're very traditional type things. I'll show you I've got my box ready here.
What does one of the boxes go for, Archie?
So these boxes here in US dollars, these are about $9,000 to $10,000
for a box, ladies and gentlemen.
But it's not just a box. See, what you got to understand, why is this $9,000? And the reason is because these are made of wood, and they actually age the wood for about 10 years so that it doesn't bend. And then it's put together by craftspeople who put these watches together. It's very much a tradition. And the thing is, with Louis Vuitton, that is what they were. They were trunk makers. So this is very traditional type trunk. And with this box here, I got to tell you a secret.
What year is it from?
This box is actually modern. This is modern. I actually bought one of these at retail. Unfortunately, in the burglary, when they broke into the safe, they cut them. They were damaged. I had two, but I managed to actually find this one on eBay. It's only a couple. It's exactly the same color and combination. It was in absolute perfect condition. And then I got it custom painted. Louis Vuitton will actually paint these for you at no cost. Well, they charged you. Someone paid $9,000 US for the box, so it definitely was a cost. Put it that way. But these boxes here, it's just a beautiful way to display your collection.
It's pretty unbelievable. So as we were talking about, as you were talking about a couple of minutes ago, you say that the Rolex two-time bluesy, if you only had one watch, it may be a contender for the only watch you'd have. Tell me why.
Look, I got to tell you, the thing about this watch is, look, there's some hype watches. The most popular is the Panda, the Batman, the Pepsi. You know, that's the hype watches that everybody seems to want. But I got to be honest with you, what I love about the bluesy. So this is a two-tone. It's steel and gold. So you've got you got that contrast. For me, I think this is probably the nicest two-tone Rolex. It's one of the nicest two-tone Rolexes. And the thing I love about it is you got the strength of steel. So that means that, because gold is quite a soft metal, so you got the strength of steel in the case and most of the bracelet, and particularly this part here where it takes some pressure. It's all steel, and you got the beauty of some gold trim. You got gold center, gold accents, gold crown. It just is just such a versatile watch. And I've got to be honest with you, if you only had one watch, this is a waterproof watch. You can wear it everywhere. You could wear it in the pool. You can wear it with a suit. James Bond, he wore a Submariner with a suit. It's just such a versatile, beautiful watch. And because it's on a bracelet, like the other option is a leather strap. This is a Patek on a leather strap. The straps, you know, in a sweaty climate, particularly in Vegas where it's so hot, you sweat and they wear out. But a metal bracelet watch, it's going to be very, very much more durable for that type of environment. So it's just something you can use and love. And let's face it. So it's got a watch. It tells you the date on the two-tone, and it's also got a timer. So you can time things like, how long did I put the steak on the barbecue for? How long did I park the car in that spot for? Very handy. That rotating bezel is one of the most useful complications. Just so simple. It's just a bezel that moves, that allows you to mark time. Very simple, usable, heavy duty piece. Hey, this is like turning up, if you're a executive, turning up in an E-Class Mercedes or a BMW X5, you're the business. It's not too over the top and super, super flashy, but it is quality. It is beautiful. And that is all most people would ever need.
So let me just ask you, what does that go for? What in the marketplace today?
Oh, this watch here, that's a good question. Look, what used to happen in the watch market itself there is that these watches were selling above retail. So there was a wait list. They had big wait lists. And unfortunately, what that meant is that on the secondary market, they were selling for more than it would cost retail wise. Now the market's actually dipped a bit. These are about 16,000 US dollars. 16. That's for a reasonably late model ceramic bezel, which is the later version. 16,000. But the good news is you can basically, this is how you got to look at it. You can basically wear this as long as you don't abuse it too badly, wear it. And in 10, 20 years' time, you still got most of your money there. You still got most of your money in that watch. It's a free cost per wear. If you look at how much does it cost every time you wear it, if you use it a lot, it's one of the few assets which, if you kept it for 20 years, I actually had a lawyer who I helped him buy a second-hand one of these. He wore it for 20 years. I got it for him in 2001. He then sold it. It was really quite beat up a bit. He got his money back. And then you know what happened? He wanted to buy it back again. And he ended up buying a newer one. But that's the thing. It was free to wear virtually, because the watches, these particular, the Rolex, they're very good at holding value. And fantastic watch.
Okay, so let's talk about the most expensive watch in your collection, which is the Patek Philippe World Time 5130. Tell me about that one.
Patek Philippe. This here is a classic from Patek Philippe. This is the World Time, which means that this watch here, it tells you the time in 24 time zones. So this is a very, you can see how it's got you can see there in Sydney, it tells you it's 5 past 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And it tells us down below New York, we're looking at, I should just try and focus that there, but it's saying 22. So it's about 10 o'clock, 5 past 10 in New York. So it gives you a global perspective. Now, obviously with daylight savings, it isn't 100% right, but it's, look, for as far as telling the time, it's gives you a very good inclination of the time. In Rio, it's midnight. In Paris, it's 4 in the morning. In London, it's 3 a.m. We can see the different, and that disc actually rotates. So it constantly tells you the time in all 24 locations. And the thing is, it's got a big button here, and you press that button and it changes to the different locations. So it's currently set to Sydney time, but if I jumped on a plane, I can press it and change the zone, and it will adjust the time to match. And then all the other ones in perspective adjust. So this watch here is a fantastic, these are I actually, this is a superseded model. These originally came out in the early 2000s. Patek had made World Times many decades before, but they hadn't done them for a long time. They reissued the World Time in the early 2000s with the 5110. It was a little bit small, 37 mil. I actually had that watch, but unfortunately was stolen in my burglary. And in about 2006, they replaced it with this is a 39.5 mil. And in my opinion, it's absolutely the perfect size watch to have. So it's a dress watch. This is white gold. And on the secondary market there, these are really quite expensive. They're about 60,000 for a new World Time. But the good news is, on the pre-owned market there, in the 30s US, you can get a World Time. Fantastic piece to have there.
So before we move on to other watch questions, anything else you'd like to show off for your collection that really gets you excited?
Look, I really like bang per buck. And I got to tell you, in the pre-owned market, one of the most beautiful watches. This isn't necessarily the most hyped watch. This is just a watch that is so beautiful. And I just bought this one. It's a Breguet. So Breguet is a company that's been around since 1775. They invented so many firsts in watchmaking. They invented the tourbillon. They invented the key to wind pocket watches. They did so many firsts. Breguet hands, Breguet numerals. It's also got beautiful beautiful coin edging on the case. These on the secondary market, these are brand new, are sort of in the mid 30s. Secondary market around about 15 to 20,000. Bargain, bargain, bargain. But the beautiful thing about the Breguet, not just the price, it's just the amount of watchmaking in it. See, they released this model to show off. You can see a lot of the movement on the dial there. So they did that to show off watchmaking. You can see all the components there. And it's just, this is in rose gold. Yes, it's expensive, but when you look at what the retail price is compared to the secondary price, absolute bargain. Any person who has a Breguet, in my opinion, I think as a collector, my opinion of them goes up. Anyone with a Breguet is just such a beautiful brand. So many beautiful things in it. As again I say, it's not a hyped watch. It's not one that the rappers or people are into them, but the Breguet is just an amazing historic brand. Amazing.
What did you end up paying for that one?
This one here, I actually got it from a good friend of mine, and I'll just tell you what I paid for this here. I paid for this just under $12,000. And that's a box papers. I'll just show you. This would have to be one of the most beautiful presentations. This is how it presents to you. It comes, but what is really amazing is it comes in this most beautiful. Now,
that box is beautiful.
Yeah, and a lot of boxes now are fake wood, but as far as I can tell, I'm pretty sure this is solid wood pieces. It's not just a veneer. It's actually quite well done. Just a beautifully presented watch. This is not a watch to sort of show off for all the hype sort of collectors. This is somebody this is called the Breguet Traditionnel series. Just such a beautiful watch to enjoy for yourself. This is a watch. Breguet is just such a brand for you to enjoy yourself and love the art of watchmaking. That's what it's about. And at the end of the day, why do you buy these things? Is it to show off, or is it to have something that makes you happy?
I think it should be something that makes you happy.
Exactly. And that's a relative bargain on the secondary market. Fantastic brand. Guilloche dial, all done very, very, everything on that watch there is done not for cost effectiveness. It's done because that's the way to do things. It's a fantastic brand there.
So why don't we move forward? And I'd love your take. State of the watch market in 2024, and what do you think was the most overhyped watch of the year?
Look, I got to tell you, what is happening is things are getting a little bit on the nasty side, because the market, we've had huge, it's not just households who have cost of living crisis, it's manufacturers have had many cost of production costs have gone up, and labor costs and all sorts of material costs have gone up there. Look, the most hyped watches there, I got to be honest with you, some people would say the Patek, the new Patek Cubitus that came out, but I think that was actually a fantastic first for Patek. I think that's good to see them pushing the envelope, not in necessarily good times. Times in the world interest rates are high, things are tough. I think that's actually been a fantastic release for Patek to do that, just to show what they can do. Very risky times. Most hype pieces. Look, what happens is when times are tough, instead of manufacturers releasing new exciting stuff, they'll do new colors. they'll do simple simple tweaks. They have a new color version. They have a new dial. Instead of making expensive changes, they'll do less expensive tweaks. And I think, with the whole watch market itself, they've been it's when things are tough, you don't see super, super exciting stuff come out there. But I got to tell you myself, I think Pateks, some people have been a bit controversial. But don't forget, many great releases were controversial. The Royal Oak, when it came out, people, they didn't like it. And, time will tell. The test of time will be the adjudicator of whether it was a good or bad decision. But many exciting things there. I think myself, with the watches themselves there, it's an exciting time, but things are not as good as they were. I think 2022, early 2022 was the peak, just like the peak in the car market, just like the peak in many collectible areas. So it's a completely different world. But one thing you can always say is the only certainty is change. Things will change.
I agree with that. So let's just talk about what you see for the luxury watch market in 2025. And I want to talk about one thing you always like to talk about. What is the status of the secondhand market?
Look, it is a very tricky situation. The market itself is very tough there. So what you're seeing is a lot of the dealers themselves, you're having high for new production. The prices have gone up because there's a cost of supply, cost of running a business. So you're having increased prices, but that doesn't necessarily mean the second-hand prices will go up. In the secondary market, you've got more people now selling watches than buying watches. So it's flipped. It's done a complete 180. It's done a 180. So what is the story? What is the story? Well, anything that is hyped has come back, but the good news is that if you buy stable stock, trusted pieces, you'll always be okay. Rolex, Patek Philippe, Jaeger-LeCoultre, a lot of these brands here, you've got to remember this. Many people would buy things at retail and they'd sell it for more. That never used to be the case. It's never been the case. It's only in these crazy times. It's very few models you could do that. So the market itself, what has happened is if you've got certain watches, dealers don't want it. If it's not a popular brand, it's a soft model, they don't want it. And that's the situation. You won't necessarily see the prices cheap when a dealer wants to resell it. But if you try and sell it to a dealer, I don't buy that, not buying that, nope, not buying that, because it's going to be very difficult to get out of it. Now, I'll give you an example. Rolex is probably has the least margin on the secondary market. Okay, it's because many of those pieces are so transactional. You can easily, now the thing is this, if someone has got too many in stock and you want to sell it, the dealer will always cut you down a bit there. To be honest with you, I bought this watch here in 2022, early 2022, and it's probably lost about 10% on the wholesale price. Okay, it's gone 20. So that's the truth. Now, the thing is, certain other brands, where the danger is that if you go to a dealer and say, right, I want that Rolex, but I want to trade in third tier watches, which aren't as popular, say a Panerai, for example, which is a great watch, but the retained value, it's harder to sell. They will absolutely slaughter you on the sale of those sort of pieces. So the marketplace itself is very tough. If it's not what a dealer wants, they don't even want to touch it unless it's very, very cheap. And so what the real answer is there, don't sell unless you really have to. If you don't have to sell, it's not a time to sell. The market is tough. And just remember, if you're trading with a dealer, he doesn't want to buy pieces that are harder to sell than the stock he's got. If he's got Rolex, that's like cash for him. He doesn't want to take lesser brands and take the Rolex. He wants to do the reverse. So market itself there on unpopular pieces, very tough, very, very tough. Hype pieces have come back a lot. The Rolex Daytona Panda. Now, this is the whole thing. If you bought it from the AD at retail, it's still worth more than retail. This is the famous Panda. But they were going for 50,000 US dollars. They were going for 50,000. They've come back on the secondary market to in the 20s. So a lot of the hype stuff, crazy prices, they have come back a lot. Now, it's still more than buying it at the retail price, but if you bought it as speculation, you can really do badly. Now, the thing is this, it doesn't matter. The thing is this, buy what you love and enjoy it. Don't look at it as an investment. If you make money out of it, that's a great bonus. But if you don't, you've had years of enjoyment with it. And I think that's what's happened. When you got Yahoo, when you've got Bloomberg saying watches are a new asset class, it's time to get out. As Joe Kennedy said, when the shoe shine boy is giving you stock tips, you know it's time to get out. And that's what's happened there.
You're such a great oralist, Paul. I really appreciate that. So let's move forward to some other things I'd like to talk to you about. Speaking of things here in Las Vegas, there has been a run recently over the last year of a lot of men coming to town and losing their luxury watches. And we're talking watches that are six figures and more. We're talking $100,000, $200,000 watches and more. People losing them in nightclubs or hotel rooms. What is your advice to someone who wants to wear a really expensive watch in public? Would the answer be just don't do it?
Look, it's always, you know what? What's the point of having these things if you don't use it? It's like having a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. If you don't drive it, why buy it? And I think what you need to do is be careful. Just like if you have a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or a Rolls Royce, you just don't take it into the bad part of town and leave it in a car park with the keys on a hook. You say, well, hang on a minute. I want to make sure it's safe. You've got to plan out your experiences. It's funny you say that. I got a good friend of mine who has a very valuable world time. This is a expensive world time, but he has one with the enamel dial, which is probably many times more valuable than this one. And you've got to be careful. You have to be careful. Now, my advice is this. Plan out your trip. If you're going to a good restaurant, if you're staying with good people, it really shouldn't be a problem. But if you're going under the influence of drugs or alcohol, if you are doing silly things, don't take it. Don't take it.
Crowded areas.
Crowded, exactly. And, there's that famous footage of the French Prime Minister. He was wearing a Patek. He was meeting the crowd. He took it off and put it in his pocket. And there's a bit of a scandal because they thought, why did he? But that's the reality. If you're going somewhere, wear it. It's good to wear it, but judge the environment. Sometimes, you know what? If you've got a Patek and you're going to a slightly riskier area, well, why don't we take it off and put on a Zenith, which would be still a beautiful watch, a fraction of the price here. This here is probably about 5,000 US dollars. Now, obviously, if that's stolen, it still hurts. But you're looking at 35,000 for a white gold world time. So, you know what? Just be smart. It's like anything. Be smart. If you had a Ferrari, you wouldn't necessarily leave it in a bad district of town and just Leave the keys on a hook. You want to be sensible. So I got to tell you, the big problem is that a lot of these guys here, they don't realize their own vulnerabilities. There's professional ladies, professional schemes where confidence tricks. It is a confidence tricks. If you thought it was risky, you wouldn't have done it. So you've got to be very, very careful. My own opinion is, I think there's beautiful watches. A lot of those super expensive ones. I tell you honestly, see, I love something like a Breguet. It's not about the price, it's the craftsmanship. So this here is a $30,000 watch retail, secondhand, under 20. I think the big thing is this: just be careful, just be conscious, and if you're in a risky environment, just exit out. Don't take risks. That's the best advice.
Don't go under the influence.
Exactly right.
So let's reflect on your time here in Las Vegas in 2022, where you got to go on behalf of CY Interview to the famous dance show, Female Review, at the Luxor Hotel and Casino Fantasy, and Archie was on stage with the great Fantasy crew. What was that like to be a star of a show for a night in Las Vegas?
Look, you know what? Those are memories I will have forever. They were such lovely. The crew there, the ladies in the show, crew professionals, absolutely fantastic. I tell you what, that's a memory I will never lose. And I got to tell you, Vegas itself, there is no town I've ever been like Vegas. I remember we had the interview. I was at the Wynn Hotel. Those are memories that are absolutely incredible. And I got to tell you, Vegas, it's probably there is no place in the world like Vegas. It is incredible. The Strip, the different, I tell you what, that is, I even love the different tiers, like the Luxor. You know, I remember when that was first opened years and years ago. It was such a high-end establishment. And I got to tell you, the Vegas itself, it's always changing. Nothing stays still on the Strip. It's always changing. I never seen anything like it. Vegas is Vegas.
Well, we got to get your subscribers and your greatest fans to have a 3-day Archie luxury watch seminar in Las Vegas and get you back here.
Vegas is incredible. I love Vegas. It's one of the highlights of my US tour. Vegas was amazing.
What would you say in closing for the future of Archie Luxury on YouTube? What are you hoping to accomplish upcoming? What do you want to do in 2025 in closing?
Look, I got to tell you, it's a very interesting question. It's always a changing environment. The YouTube space is changing. I want to provide information and comedy to the audience. I think that's a big thing. At the end of the day, I thought, what is it that I do? I've actually been doing a bit of soul searching with some personal tragedies I've had. But if you can make someone's life happy, I had a good fan, JD, and he said, Arch, I really loved watching your show when I was getting chemotherapy. He used to watch I do a daily live stream on the Archie Luxury live stream channel. And he said to me, I used to watch you every day when I was getting and this is the thing. It's not so much what you can get. It's what people get out of it themselves. And if you can make someone's life easier or happier, or they have a joke and a laugh, that is task accomplished. Job accomplished. So for me, I just want to be providing entertainment, making people's life easier, and enjoying the world. Things change. Look, it's a tougher environment than in the past, but the one thing I can say is that nothing ever stays bad. Nothing stays super fantastic. Nothing stays. It always will have ups and downs. So just ride out the storm and continue to make people happy and laugh.
I really appreciate those words. You had a lot of great lessons here in between, the amazing new watch collection that you have, there are so many interesting and inspiring and motivational things in there, and very truthful as well. So in closing, what would you say the overall value of your new watch collection is?
Look, with my watch collection itself there, with the box, I got 8 pieces, which I've sent you the photo. That cost me about $80,000 US, which that's a lot of money. That is a lot of money. But the thing is, it's not about the money. It's not about the price. What you got to really do is, I tell you something. I actually, with some tragedy I had, I've given some watches. I gave a watch to each of my sons when they turned 18. I gave a Grand Seiko to one, and the other son I gave a Tudor to. And this is the thing. It's not so much what they do for you. It's how it makes, how it other people can enjoy pieces. And, I think I'll be honest with you, in the future, I probably will shrink down a bit, even further, to probably 4 or 5. But in the meantime, I want to enjoy them. And the important thing is, it's not the metal. It's not the watch itself. It's the interaction with other people that makes the hobby great. It's like when you have a classic car, it's not the car itself, the metal, the rubber, the plastic. It's the talking to other people who appreciate these things. And that's the same thing with watch collecting. It's not so much, oh, I've got this, I'm better than you. No, it's to have a common interest with fellow collectors. That's the big thing. I don't need the most expensive stuff. That doesn't, I didn't buy this to have the best. I want good value, beautiful things that are good bang per buck for myself. That doesn't have to be the most expensive. I like things that are very unusual things. I think you're muted, sorry.
Check out his YouTube channel, Archie Luxury. Paul Pluta, thank you so much for joining us today on C Wine Review. Anything you want to add in closing? And how are you, sir, all the way in Australia?
It's so hot. The temperature is 30 degrees Celsius. It's very hot. It's like Vegas weather. It's a great time here. Love your watches. Promise me, wear them. Don't need to have a museum pieces. Wear them, enjoy them, share the love, and take it easy, everybody. Take it easy.
Oh, absolutely. And hopefully many of Archie's greatest fans were able to watch our 40 minutes and see him reflect on so many great things. Paul, happy holidays. We'll have you back soon. Thank you so much for showing off the watch collection. And below in the description, besides subscribing, below in the description, I have linked to Paul's video on his watch collection, his original video on @ArchieLuxury. Paul, thank you so much again for being on C Wine Review today.
Thank you so much, Chris, and you have a great holiday.